The rulings for divorce with the causes of compensation. If the husband makes a clause of divorce on his wife by the compensation of the dowry which he has given to her, or from his debt towards her. For example, he says, whenever you return to me your dowry, you are divorced, or whenever you free from my debt towards you, you are divorced. And she then settles with him. The validity of compensation from all the debt or the dowry becomes the condition for the divorce to happen. The compensation is not valid if the wife is not allowed to be involved in dealings, or if she does not know the amount of compensation. Therefore, there is no compensation and hence no divorce. Part of the condition involves the knowledge of the husband in the compensation, which includes the type, amount and attribute of the compensation. It is also part of the condition for her to know what he knows. The compensation involved does not have any zakat which is not paid. If the husband does not know about the compensation, or if there is any unpaid zakat, then the divorce does not happen. This differs from a verbal contract. For example, he says to her, I have given you a khulu with the return of I have given you a khula with the return of your dowry, or I have divorced you with the return of your dowry. For when the wife does not know the amount for her compensation, a tulq ba'in will occur with the a talaq ba'in will occur with the compensation for her stipulated dowry, and that is because the indeterminate compensation in the khula does not effectuate in the occurrence of a divorce. It is different from the rulings of divorce with clauses, because divorce with clauses requires the stipulation to be attached to it.
Allah, 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 Allah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين ذي الكرم الواسع والفضل الهامع، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد صاحب المقام الشاسع وعلى آله وصحبه وكل متابع. All praise are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salawat and salam upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. And in this chapter, the author discusses تعليق الطلاق بالبراءة. Now we spoke about تعليق الطلاق, and we said تعليق الطلاق is suspending the talaq based on a condition. If you do so, when you do so, shall you do so, should you do so, whenever, those adawat, those conditions, if they do it, if she does it, or if someone does it, then the talaq falls. If you speak to Zayd, if you enter the house, if I enter the house, if the husband says, if I enter the house, if you enter the house, if the sun comes up, if this month starts, that is ta'liq al-talaq, suspending the condition, suspending the talaq on a condition, suspending the talaq on a condition. What he now mentions is what is the ruling pertaining, and we also mentioned the different adawat, the different instruments of suspensive instruments in law, mata, mahma, kullama, idha, all of those things, when, if, should, shall, whenever we mentioned it last week, right? You forgot. Alhamdulillah, it's recorded. So our cameraman has it has it recorded so you can go back to our discussion inshallah. Hukm, so now he says, ta'liq, like Doc wasn't present last week. So now he must go back to the classes and he must go follow. Right, doctor? Now he speaks about حكم تعليق الطلاق بالبراءة. What is the hukm now of suspending the condition on bara'ah? What is bara'ah? Bara'ah is freedom. Freedom of what? Freedom of liability. Freedom of liability. So I'm attaching my divorce, or I'm suspending my divorce on condition of the freedom of liability, meaning on a non-liability condition. Example, if he says متى وإن أبرأتني من مهرك فأنت طالق. If you free me from your dowry فأنت طالق, you are divorced. Or if you free me from my debt towards you فأنت طالق. He owes her money, right? And in order to be free, he says, listen, you need to, in order for him to issue the talaq, he says, listen, the debt that I have towards you, free me from that, and I issue the talaq. So he says, إذا علق الزوج طلاق زوجته بإبرائها إياه من المهر مثلا أو من الدين الذي لها عليه، كأن قال متى أبرأتني من مهرك أو من دينك فأنت طالق، فأبرأته من ذلك، فيشترط لوقوع الطلاق. These شروط, conditions. He says, whenever, or should the husband suspend the talaq of his wife on the condition of freeing him from liability, such as a dowry, مثلا, or debt due towards her, whenever she does that, then, as he would say, for example, متى أبرأتني, when you free me from your dowry, and he hadn't paid the dowry yet, or he paid part of the dowry but he has an outstanding amount, or she has a debt against him, فأنت طالق, then you are divorced. فأبرأته, and then she frees him by saying, I free you. أبرأتك, I free you. من ذلك, from that. فيشترط, in order for that divorce to fall, these conditions. Number one, 4 conditions. صحة البراءة, the validity of that statement of the freeing him from liability. And in order for that to happen means that if he uses, remember we spoke about certain terms that it's على الفور, and certain terms that's على التراخي. Certain instruments, conditional instruments, if it's used, it has to be accepted immediately, and others, if it is used, then it is deferred. Meaning, he tells her, إن دخلت الدار فأنت طالق. If you enter the house فأنت طالق. That is على الفور, immediate. So as soon as she is reasonably able to, expected to be able to enter the house, and she does not enter it, it falls. متى, when she uses the متى, whenever, or when you, that متى is على التراخي, meaning there's still time. She can do it whenever she wants. So she don't feel she wants to enter the house now, and so want to be with him for a while. When she chooses now after a year, and she says, no, I had now enough of this guy, enter the house, الطلاق. طيب, the same applies here. So he says for example, he says, in أبرأتني, if you free me from your dowry فأنت طالق, and she says أبرأتك, or she's absent and the message reaches her, someone comes and says your husband said so and so and so, and or she comes back from travel إن أبرأتني زوجتي من مهرها فهي طالق. He tells the father, she comes back from a working trip. As soon as she hears it, she says, أبرأته. Or she tells him, أبرأتك من ديني. She goes to him and says, أبرأتك من ديني. Or من مهري. I free you from the liability towards me, or my mahar. And that freedom complies with the conditions. فهي طالق. طيب. فهي طالق. So he says here, صحة البراءة من جميع الدين. من جميع الدين or from the entire debt or mahar. What's the meaning from the entire debt to mahar? Meaning the entire amount that is mentioned. If he says, if you free me from your mahar, and her mahar was 800 rand, and she says, أبرأتك من نصفه, I free you from half of it, لم يصح. It's not valid. Or he says, إن أبرأتني من دينك, if you free me from your debt that is due to you, and she says, أبرأتك من 10,000, I free you from 10,000, and he owes her 20,000, لم يصح. It doesn't fall. Why? Because he suspended the condition on that amount unless he stipulated, and he said, if you free me from 10,000, and she says, I free you. Or you free me from half of your dowry, and he says, if he says, free me from half of your dowry, she says, I free you from half of my dowry. But if there is a difference between the two, the one says this and the other one says that something different or not the entire amount, then it does not fall at all. Right? Why? Because it's conditional. It's conditional. Right? And then he says, فَلَوْ لَمْ تَصِحْ الْبَرَاءَ, if the bara'ah, the freedom of liability, is invalid, such as what we mentioned now, or الزوجة غير نافذة للتصرف, the wife is incapable of handling what? Her finances. Meaning she's a safiha. Remember we see what a safi is? A safi was a person that is incapable and that is unable to handle their situation. They cannot make sound judgments financially. In terms of our madhab, a safi is a person who's غير مصلح لدينه ودنياه. In terms of our madhab, a safi, a person who is incapable and incompetent of handling the situation and they're placed under some sort of curatorship, is a person who is unable to make sound judgments in relation to his deen and to his dunya, to his money, in relation to his deen and his wealth. That is according to the madhab, the mu'tamad in the madhab. However, that becomes very challenging if we apply that. So generally what the scholars would apply these days is the view of Al-Izz ibn Abdus Salam, also a scholar from the madhab, that says that no, his deen is not taken into consideration. It is easily able to make sound judgment with regards to his wealth. Reason being is, yes, they say that if you go based on the deen, then many people will fall within that category. Because many people cannot make sound judgments in relation to their deen. Reg of verkeerd? How many Muslims don't make salah? How many Muslims don't pay zakah? So because of that condition, many Muslims won't fall within the category of being able to make sound judgments. Al-Izz ibn Abdus Salam is a great scholar. He says the consideration is only taken with regards to sound judgment in terms of his wealth, not in terms of his deen. And even though that is not the mu'tamad in the madhab, scholars have kind of like accepted adopting that view because of the difficulty that it would place people in situations like this. If you say that a person is safi, incapable of making sound decisions in regards to his deen as well, and because of that the person is not Rashid, is not someone who is upright, then that the person doesn't have the right to transact. All the person's transaction would be invalid. That person doesn't have the right to enter into Nikkah. He doesn't have the right to divorce. And based on certain conditions. But I mean the point is that there's ahkam that applies to it. The person can't buy, can't sell. Right. Can't give gifts, hibas, donations, sadaqat, all of those things has to be considered. So he says, بأن كانت غير نافذة للتصرف. So assumingly the wife is someone who's a prodigal, and she's incapable of handling her own situations, her own financial affairs. And assumingly someone maybe like majnoona, someone who is majnoon, or someone who is not baligh, مثلا, she can't say abra'tuk, I free you from my debt, or the debt that is due to me, or from my mahar, because you must go back to her guardian to make the decision on her behalf, because now she is putting herself in a situation where she is being prejudiced. I'm supposed to get dowry of 10,000 rand and I'm writing it off, but you don't have the ability to make sound financial judgment, so now you place under curatorship. There's a guardian or curator placed over you, and the curator will now make decision. Is this in the best interest? Is this not in the best interest? Look at the marriage. Is it best for her to remain in the marriage? Is it best for her not to remain in the marriage? Oh, what if she is capable of handling her finances, and she's not someone who's a safih? She's Rashid, she's competent. ولكن كانت جاهلة بالمبرأ, but she's not aware, or she's ignorant with regards to what she is setting him free of. Meaning she has debt, she knows she has debt that is due to her. She knows that the husband owes her money, but she doesn't know how much. And she just says, Abra'tuk, I free you. She's so excited to get out. She says, Abra'tuk, I free you. But she doesn't know. You tell her how much? لا يشترط علمها. It is conditional that she must know. If she does not know, فلا طلاق. Also, it is conditional that the husband should know what he is being freed from. He must also know. So she must know, and he must know what he's being freed of. Alright? But if she knows, if she doesn't know, and he doesn't know, if she doesn't know, and he doesn't know, or she doesn't know and he knows, then the talaq don't fall. If she doesn't know, and he doesn't know, you come to him and say, what did you just know? He says, I said, if you free me from your debt. And she says, I freed you. What did you free from? I don't know. From the debt that owes me. How much they owe you? I don't know. Allahu A'lam. Tell him, how much do you owe her? 850. لا يقع. Doesn't fall. But if she knows exactly. Said حساب خو. Alright? Said حساب خو. Rekeni. She's got the full account, recon, laptop, Excel sheet, alles full. Month 1, month 2, month 3. And at the end he signed and everything authenticated, electronic signatures, whatever it is. Here's it. He owes me X amount. And you freed him from this? I freed him from that. Go to the husband. You were freed from the dowry. What was the amount? What's the amount? I don't know. Al-Imam or Shaykh Abu Makhrama, He says the talaq falls here, but it falls raj'i. Raj'i means without compensation. Meaning the talaq falls, but he's still indebted to her. Why? Because he did not know the amount that he is being freed of. That is Shaykh Abu Makhrama's view. Na'am. He says that, however, the others say that لا يشترط علم الزوجين, both of them must know, and if both of them don't know, فيقع الطلاق. فلا يقع الطلاق, it doesn't fall. He says لا يقع. Abu Makhrama says it يقع, it falls. Abu Makhrama says Shafi'i, it falls, but not based on the condition, just raj'i, meaning he can revoke, and there's no, the debt still stands. Na'am.
So is this only if the husband doesn't know, then it falls under talaq raj'i. If he doesn't know, and it's the vice versa, if the wife doesn't know the law.
If the wife doesn't know the amount, it doesn't fall. If the wife doesn't, because she can't free herself, she can't free him from a liability that she's unaware of. In end, it's a aqd mu'awadiyah. It's a compensational contract. So in entering into this contractual compensation contract, there's something that I'm offering and there's something that I'm getting in exchange. So I'm offering to set you free from a debt. In exchange, I'm getting a talaq. Very close to khul'ana, but there's a difference. I'm going to speak about this so you don't get confused between the two. Khul' was what? Talaq with compensation. Different though. This is not talaq with compensation. This is talaq suspended on a condition of non-liability. Verstaan mooi. Die een is, geef vir my, give me 100 rand and I'll issue you the talaq. Or she says, issue me the talaq, I'll give you 100 rand. And then he says, I accept the 100 rand and he issues the talaq. That's khula'. Or he says, I offer you 100 rand, or give me 100 rand and I offer you the talaq, or I give you your talaq. She says, I accept the 100 rand, and then he says, talaqtuki anti talaq, divorce you. That is khula'. Yeah, it's not khula'. Yeah is if you set me free from your conditional. If you set me free, then I'll issue the talaq. So there's a contract here they're entering into. There's a contract. If you set me, it's a conditional, suspensive condition. If you set me free, then I will. So the condition here is that you need to set me free. And when you're setting someone free, conditional, you need to know what you're on. What are you setting him free from? What you are relinquishing, you need to know. What am I giving up? Right? Because there's a condition mu'awada of compensation. Any aqd mu'awada in Sharia must be ma'loom. What is the compensation? Mafhoom? Understood? Ni? Via? Understood? طيب, again. Vienna? طيب. You know, sometimes you see against people's faces. They say so, but they, nee. Right? The zahir say, I understand, but the heart is saying, Ya Rab, zidni ilma, increase me knowledge and understanding. طيب. So, we said that firstly, the wife needs to be nafidat tasarruf. She must be able to deal with her own financial situations. She must handle her own finances. Okay, she's capable of handling her own. She's not incompetent in any way. Assuming deen and dunya, she's competent. Alright? They say the next thing is ألا تكون جاهلة. She mustn't be ignorant with the amount that she's setting him free from. She must know. So when you go to her, you say, what did you set him free from? She'll say, هكذا. Is this amount? خلاص. زوج. What is the amount you're being set free from? X amount. خلاص. Talaq falls. But now you have a situation, she doesn't know. He knows, it doesn't fall. Because she cannot set him free from something that she does not know. You have another condition, none of them know, doesn't fall. Doesn't fall. You have the view that Shaykh Abu Makhrama has. He says that it's okay if the husband don't know and she knows. It's fine, because it will then fall as a talaq raj'i. Because if the husband doesn't know, it's almost like he's not really interested. So he was willing to issue the talaq and he doesn't even know what the compensation is. Talaq falls, no compensation. مفهوم? Understood? طيب. ويشترط أيضا, it's condition also that the zawj must know the amount. Jinsan. What must they know about it? Jinsan. What is the commodity? What is the nature of the commodity? Rand, money, gold, silver. Alright, must know the commodity. Vegetables, livestock. Qadran. Jinsan is the type. The type. Qadran, amount. 1,000 rand, 2,000 rand, ounce gold, ounce silver. Qadran, the quantity. Wasifatan. So those are three things that's required to know. The nature of it, or the type of the debt, the amount of the debt, and the sifa, the attributes of the debt. Is it mukassar? Is it 10 rands? Or is it 100 rands of 100 rand notes? Right? Or is it of 200 rand notes? Or is it هكذا? It must be no sifatan. And this particularly applies where the sifa affects the actual debt. Like you say sheep, for example, but you get different sheep. You get the sheep that is frail, and the sheep that is young, and the sheep that is old, and you get different. So what's the sifa of it? What's the attribute of it? Like the sifa of the cow in Surah Al-Baqarah. Right? Allah says, "Idbahu baqara," slaughter a cow. "Ud'u lana rabbaka ma hi." Tell us about it. "Inna baqatu la adhalu, la faridu, wa la bikrun awanun bayna dhalika." Just any cow. It doesn't have to be this, nor that. فَفْعَلُوا مَا تُؤْمَرُونَ. Came back to Nabi Musa. "Ud'u lana rabbaka ma yubayyin lana ma lawnha." What's the color? Afterwards they got the color. "Ud'u lana rabbaka," again. What is it? Tell us more about it. Until eventually they came to a cow, and the sifa of this cow was only to be found in one cow that they could find. No other cow had that attribute. So that is a sifa. So sifa can affect. The species can affect. If you say cow, what sifa is a cow? It must be like a wagyu, or a patisita, the milk cows. Right? Huh? Asia. Aisha. Right? وهكذا. So that's a sifa. So you must know those three things. Jinsan, the type, qadran, quantity, sifa, attributes, qualities of it. كما يشترط علم. Gold, for example, you say gold, but you get different types of gold. You get the carats, no? You get the carat, 9 carat, whatever carat. You say gold, 1 ounce of gold. Halas, I take 1 ounce of 9 carat gold. I want. What is the highest quality? 24 carat. 24 carat. 24 carat gold. So it differs in terms of the sifa. وَأَلَّا تَتَعَلَّقَ بِالْمُبْرَئِ مِنْهُ زَكَاة. This is the third condition. The third condition. No, the fourth condition. وَأَلَّا. So we said first that the husband and the wife must know. It must happen within the majlis. If it's immediate, then she has to accept immediate. We said that the wife must be someone who's capable of making the decisions, her own decisions. Fourth one, there must be no zakah attached to it. There must be no zakah attached to it. What is the meaning? There must be no zakah attached to it. Wat beteken dit? Sahel? Her dowry was how much? 20,000 rand. 20,000 rand. Right? Not a lot of money, right? 20,000 rand. Not a lot of money. Her dowry was 20,000 rand, and they were married. They got married last year Ramadan. They got last year Ramadan, immediately after Ramadan. Labarang, tweede Shawwal, they got married Nikkah. Next year, the 1st of Shawwal is the anniversary. But it's not only the anniversary, it's also what? The hawl of zakah. The whole the year of zakah. She got that money on the day, and the entire year went, that money was in a position 20,000 and there's zakah due on it. She must pay 2.5% of that money in zakah. That money wasn't touched, it was just laying there. Sell the books, wrapped everything. She didn't even touch the box. It's laying exactly as it is. 20,000 rand. She has to pay zakah on it. Now he says, I'll divorce you, or if you free me from your dowry of 20,000, I'll divorce you. She says, Abra'tuk, I free you from the dowry. Now you get 20,000. She gives him 20,000 minus 2.5%. He says, hey, 20,000. She says, Afu minnak, the zakah, I have to pay the zakah due. I can't give you this. He says, no, I want the full mahar. لا يصح. لا يصح, I want the 20,000. لا يصح. Why? Because the amount, she can't free him from an amount that is not even due to her. It is due to the who? To the recipients of zakah. So because it is due to the recipients of zakah, even though it was in a possession, the fact that it became due, it already no longer became her money. And that's why it is so important that you need to pay your zakah. Pay your zakah, because if you don't pay your zakah, the money that is the wealth that is zakatable, that hasn't been paid, and it still forms part of your wealth, it eats away the barakah of all the other money. It eats away the barakah. It eats it away. So now you have 100,000 rand, and you have a zakah of 2,500 that you have to pay. That 2,500 zakah there, if you don't pay it, it eats away the barakah of the rest of the money that you have. Eat it away, eat it. You see, just money is just going. But once you take it out and you give it to its due recipients, then Allah Ta'ala then on account of that places barakah in the remaining money. Make sure that your zakah gets paid. So he says, أو تعلقت به zakah. That's conditional, that the money mustn't be attached to zakah. Unless he says, إن أبرأتيني من مهرك less the zakah, and she says أبرأتك, then it falls. No, that can work. We say that the money mustn't be attached to zakah. So now, assuming he says, if you free me from your dowry or your debt, less the zakah amount that is due to you, paid. How much is it? Khalas, we know it. And she says, I free you. Then it falls. But for as long as that money entails zakah, it is not. No. Let me just finish this quickly. No. He says here, وَهَذَا, listen to this carefully, this is important. وَهَذَا بِخِلَافِ مَا إِذَا كَانَ ذَلِكَ فِي صِيغَةِ عَقْدٍ. He says this is very different if it is in a contractual form. Here's a talaq, suspended. The other one is a contract, where he says, كَأَنْ يَقُولُ لَهَا, like it as if he tells her, خَالَعْتُكِ أَوْ طَلَّقْتُكِ. Yeah, they speak about khul'a now. I give you khul'a, or I will give you talaq, على البراءة من مهرك, for the compensation that you free me from your dowry. That's the difference. The one says, if you free me from your dowry, then you are divorced. That is divorce conditional, suspended to freedom of liability. Khul is, I divorce you, I will divorce you if you pay me the compensation of X amount, or if your compensation is that you free me from your dowry. That is khula. It's khula. The difference is, if you, that's conditional. The other one is, I will. So the one is, how does one say? The one is that I am giving the divorce suspended. And the other one is, I'm focusing on the compensation in order for the divorce to go through. So the one is, that condition must be complied with. If the condition is complied with, talaq falls. The other one is, you need to agree to the compensation. Once you agree to the compensation, I issue the talaq. Of whom? No. La. So we say that both have compensation. Both have compensation. The one is conditional, for a condition that must happen. If that condition happens, and it can be any condition, it doesn't have to be even money. It can be if the sun comes up, if the sun sets, if you go to Sea Point, if you come there, if you go to the mall, if you buy this that outfit, if you buy that outfit, then I talaq. If you take that call, then I halas. That can be a condition. That's a condition. So the same condition, if you free me from your dowry, then you are divorced. That is a condition. That is suspended talaq. The other one is a khula, where he says, I will talaq you in return, in exchange for you to. There's no suspensive there. There's no condition. It is either you accept the compensation or you don't accept the compensation. Right? And there's difference between the two. Why? Because the one is conditions, suspended conditions, you have to look at what are you using. If or whenever, to determine the time. Is it limited to a time, or is it extended till the end of her life? Or whereas in the khula, you have to look at the compensation itself. Is the compensation, does it comply with the laws of compensation? What if there is a difference in terms of the view? Remember we said that with the khula, if there is a difference between the two with regards to the compensation, then it reverts back to the mahrul mithl. Subhanallah. Die paas het alles weggevat. Hy sê, MashaAllah. He remembers, alhamdulillah. Anyway, I think this is a bit too much for you for the day now. Khalas. I leave it at that, inshallah. May Allah Ta'ala grant us all the understanding. And may Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala grant that we don't issue talaqs just willy-nilly. And we can do a recap, inshallah, next week, of which we do next week, inshallah. But of a different, slightly different topic, which is raj'ah. Al-raj'ah, some say al-ruj'ah. Raj'ah is revocation. The person issued the talaq and now he wants to revoke the talaq. What are the conditions, etc., etc. Any questions? Yeah. Look, I'm asking you. It's for you to accept or not. I can ask you double the amount. I tell you, if you free me from double the amount of your dowry, that's for you to accept or to refuse. It's like you? La. A person who gives a gift and he takes back the gift, then it is like a dog that is regurgitating or vomiting and taking back whatever. This is not a gift. This I've given. There is it. Bismillah. Or it's still due to you, and I'm telling you, free me from the liability. You have the right to either say yes or no. The other one is I'm taking it back without your consent. And there's conditions to that, also taking a gift back. That mustn't have reached the person mustn't. That's separate. This is not a gift here. This is a dowry. You are entitled to a dowry. He is entitled to intimacy. You got married. He either paid the dowry or he didn't pay it. Assuming he didn't pay the dowry, but he says, ek skil vir jou, my boekie moet jy worry, ek skil vir jou maskabi. Moet jy worry nie, inshallah, jou maskabi is safe met my. I'm going to give it to you, inshallah. Ek wag net. Die job moet hier kom, dan gaan ek vir jou maskabi betaal. There, alhamdulillah, the job is just about to come through. He says, ek wil nou vir soveel betaal. Oh, if you free me from you, dit khalas. That's a bad example, man. Sorry. But anyway, it is what it is. I deal with worse examples than that. But anyway, so that's just now how it is. She looks at him and she says, I free you. I free you from. If she says no, it's still due to her. If she says no, it's still due to you. And the talaq doesn't fall. If he so badly wants to divorce her, then say, talaq vir my, ek wil nie vir jou, ek wil jou niks sien nie, want jy wil ons met my wees nie, nou talaq vir my. Maar uit my, gaan jy nie geld kry nie. Lady, don't let me please with that. Now, yeah. As soon as she gets the money, she pays the zakah.
Yeah, but he hasn't given it and he wants to leave.
He hasn't paid her dowry and he wants to leave. He can't issue the talaq if it's a straight divorce, straight talaq.
No, if he on this condition.
On this condition.
So if he hasn't physically handed her the money, he says it's due to you, so it's a debt owed to her.
Yes.
So at that particular time, that it becomes accountable. What happens then? Because in her case, she has to pay zakah on it, but he hasn't physically given it to her.
So he has to free her from the debt or the dowry less the zakah. So assuming the zakah is say the dowry is 10,000 rand. The zakah is 250 rand. Is that right? My calculation right? 250 rand is the zakah. He says, I'm sitting with your dowry. He says, if you free me from your dowry of 9,750 rand, find the talaq. So that she can write that off, but not the zakah. So what he now needs to do is, he now needs to know that listen, there's zakah due. She'll tell him, listen, there's zakah due on that dowry. Make sure that monies are it's for you. But as for the 250, that must go to the zakah recipients. So she needs to tell him that listen, there's zakah amount due there, which needs to be paid. So it's not any more 10,000 that you're gonna get, right? You're getting only 9,750. That 250 is zakah. He says, I agree. Okay. So he thinks it's 9,750. He gives her the 250. She takes the 250 and she gives her zakah.
The promise of it is, even though she is in place of physically having it, it's the same thing.
If I borrow him 10,000. Okay, rather he borrowed me. Doctors generally have more money than imams. Right? Doc borrowed me a 10,000 rand. Right? He now needs to pay zakah on 10,000. Yes or no? I've got the 10,000, but he has to pay zakah. You say, yeah, but it's not in his possession. Is it due to him? Yes or no? It's due to him. I agree. I'll pay it to him at the end of the month. But his zakah, or in 2 months, his zakah is due at the end of that month. He needs to pay that zakah on the 10,000. Right? So he has one of two options. Either he has money laying surplus and he pays that zakah from the amount, or he waits for me to pay that money back, of which he takes the zakah out of that amount. So zakah on debt doesn't fall away. The only time zakah on debt may fall away is if the person that owes you the zakah, the debt, doesn't want to pay. He is a bad payer and he is refusing to pay, and the time came and he is just delaying and all of trying to dodge. Then you can say, okay, the zakah falls away. because the money is not there for me to pay zakah. But a loan, me giving a loan to a person, that doesn't extinguish my liability of zakah on that loan that I've given. Same here. The money's with me, but it's actually hers, my wife's. So she is still entitled to it. It's money due by me to her. So her zakah still runs. So if I'm keeping it for 10 years, zakah is running. Right? Okay. So make sure you claim your monies. Wat else can I say? Kry jou geld, kry julle maskerming voor dit te laat is. Is the live off? Oh, I hope the live is off. Naam. Hajja.